Hi guys, welcome to the camera review of Xperia Pro-I. So let's get started. The main camera, it has a huge 1-inch type sensor together with face detection, self-adjust OIS and a variable aperture. It's important that while the sensor behind everything is 20 megapixels. Overall, the camera effectively only uses the 12 megapixels in the middle, so the functional size is actually about similar as the Galaxy S21 Ultra. So that's still pretty huge, and it allows you to have a shallow depth of field and naturally defocus background in your shots. But you also have the option to control the focus depth by changing the aperture. The variable aperture switches between f2.0 and f4.0. It's manual, not automatic, so you'll have to activate it yourself to achieve the ideal creative impact other than the main camera. The Xperia Pro-I has an ultra-wide camera with self-adjust and a 2.1 times telephoto camera. Both at 12 megapixels. There's also a TOF camera and color spectrum sensor. Let's talk about photo quality, starting off with stills from the main camera. These are excellent with a flagship worth level of detail that comes off as natural looking. Thanks to more laid-back processing, there's less applied sharpening here than you'll see on different competitors. Colors are moderate but not dull, and dynamic range is perfect. Overall, when we tried to changing to the f4.0 aperture in normal scenes, we didn't get a sharper result. They even seemed a tad softer. But in close-up scenes like we showed before, the f4.0 aperture allows you to pick between having a natural bokeh in the shot, or to keep more of it sharp handy if your subject is an all-in-one plane. If you need much more blur in your background, you can use the bokeh mode. The subject isolation is very accurate and the overall effect pretty convincing. The ultra-wide camera's performance is decent. Its photos are sharp and detailed with a wide dynamic range in colors. 2.1 times zoomed shots from the telephoto camera are great too, with fantastic sharpness and detail, wide dynamic range in colors, which are same to the main cameras. The Xperia Pro-I doesn't have a night mode like you'd find on competing phones. But in low light in the default shooting mode, the phone performs picture stacking and processing, which it calls a night scene. These photos come out excellent with nicely sharp detail in welded areas, and a lot of detail and shadows are well preserved too. As opposed to turning night into day, the results are left on the darker side. It's a contrasty and more true-to-life version. If you are truly after that extreme night mode look, you can also boost the shadows in post. Ultra-wide camera result is like the main camera. In many ways, the exposure is again on the darker side and you get decent detail and satisfying colors. The dynamic range is not exactly wide. Zoom shots from the telephoto at night are surprisingly decent. They have great detail, decent colors and low noise. Selfies taken with the 8-megapixel front camera are just decent. DTL is okay and there's great light and the colors are okay, but there's noticeable noise. If you are after an alternative to the front camera for selfies and vlogging, Sony takes care of you with its dedicated vlogging accessories sold separately. These consist of a screen and Bluetooth shooting grip, and they permit you to see yourself and shoot while you are looking into the back cameras. If you use the vlog arrangement to take selfies, the quality is obviously much better. You get the benefit of the main camera's higher detail and dynamic range, along with the natural bokeh impact from the shallow depth of field. But the main purpose is for video recording, and the shallow depth of field and decent stabilization work actually great for your vlogs. When it comes to the genuine video quality from the main camera, it's great but not exceptional, which is a bit of a mistake from such a high-profile device. 4K film has good exposure, great colors and wide dynamic range, but the detail level is where it falls short. Texture appears soft and smooth. Without the Video Pro app, you can record in 4K at 120 FPS. There is less detail here, but you get similar decent colors and incredible dynamic range and a slow-mo effect. If you play back at a lower frame rate, 4K video taken with the ultra-wide is decent. Especially for this type of camera, we would even say that you get more resolved detail here than the main camera. 4K recording from the telephoto camera is perfect too, with decent sharpness and detail, wide dynamic range and satisfying colors. There is support for electronic stabilization on each of the 3 cameras, and up to 4K resolution at 30 FPS. ISO works effectively in dealing with walking-induced shake as well as movement caused by wind and panning. In low light, the Xperia Pro-I's main camera does a decent job with this video recording. It does preserve a lot of detail in dark, and color saturation is great too. Dynamic range is a bit more narrow than some competitors. There's noticeable noise. Nighttime video recording is not the strong suit of the ultra-wide camera. It delivers subpar performance compared with different flagships. The telephoto camera makes an okay job at night as far as detail goes, but the recording is still soft and noisy. Thanks for watching guys, see you on the next one.